didn't work.
Can we draw a picture
You can, sure.
for the essay?
No. Right now, you do whatever you want right now. So atrial depolarization. Okay, that's going to lead to atrial contraction. That's an ugly R. So that's going to force the blood into the ventricles, the QRS complex, that ventricular depolarization. That's going to lead to ventricular contraction. So initially when that ventricular contraction occurs, we're going to have a buildup of pressure. So that's kind of just after the peak through here is your ventricular contraction. And right when that occurs, you're going to have that isovolumetric contraction, and you're going to have your first heart sound.
After PQRS?
Huh?
After this?
The QRS, because the ventricles contracting causes the blood pressure to rise enough to close the AV valve. So you have heart sound 1.
That's love.
Okay, so if you look in your book, on page 683, it goes through that whole EKG and it shows the heart sounds in there as well. And it's all relative to what's happening electronically, or electrically. Electrically. Okay, so QRS, ventricular depolarization, leads to ventricular contraction. That causes your first heart sound, which is due to AV valve closure. Okay. Once you build up enough pressure with ventricular contraction, blood is being forced out into the pulmonary trunk and the aorta. Once you move through that phase, you're going to go to the T wave. This is going to be our ventricular ventricular repolarization. Okay, this leads to ventricular relaxation. So once this happens here, you're going to get heart sound 2. That's a 2 that looks like a Z. Heart sound 2 due to SL valve closure. Okay, and this is going to be during, I should put that up there too. So during isovolumetric relaxation. And up here, AV valve closure. Thanks.
So at the T wave, and if it's relaxed, and
Hold on real quick. During isovolumetric contraction. Now what?
okay, so if that is the relaxation, the valves are relaxed and the valves are closed, the blood is basically it's not coming down into the ventricle, correct? It's
Right, because the SL valves are holding the blood
Right.
from flowing back.
That's what I was okay, that was my
Right. Yeah, so when those ventricles relax, so I'm going to draw this an ugly ventricle here. There's our ugly ventricle. So let's use the aorta through here. So the ventricle relaxes, and the blood closes the semilunar valves, and it prevents blood from flowing back into, this case, the left ventricle.
yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, process starts over again. Okay, so this isovolumetric relaxation, in the book it describes it as early diastole. Then as the EKG flows through, I don't have room to draw it again, but as you come back around to here, you're mid to late diastole. And again, diastole is referring to ventricles. So over here, you're mid to late ventricular diastole, and you have passive filling of the blood. Then you're going to have your atrial depolarization, and you're going to have active filling of the ventricles for that last 20% of the blood when the atria contract. Okay. And I know it's still, it's hard to do. I mean, if I had like 25 hands, and I could draw it all real fast and make it fluid, it would look a lot more, it'd make a lot more sense. But because it's all static, and I don't draw that well, it's still, you know, everything's kind of in steps, and you don't get that fluid movement of what's actually happening. Okay? So I know it's a little rough, but still, like I said, we got on mastering, there are some really good animations of what's actually happening in the heart if you need to see it actually happening.